winning play, what ultimately provided a cushion that was too great for the Raptors to overcome. After very nearly losing the ball, Livingston finds Iguodala, and a former Finals MVP looked at it, thought about it for a split second, like, I'll pull this. All of y'all, hold this L. Take it with you. Big, big shot from Iguodala. And that helps Steve Kerr vault up this list. As a player and a coach, the man's been involved in the finals 10 times. It's almost embarrassing. Nothing to be embarrassed about. Look at that company. He's now up to 76 victories. We welcome in Paul Pierce. And Paul, Doris was just talking about the fragile nature of the guys on the court and who's able to go and who's not. I want to ask you about a Raptors team that was cooking with gas, man. They take out Milwaukee 4 straight. They went on their home floor in this one. They're up double digits in the second, and now it's the series is tied. How fragile is confidence when you're new to this and the champs respond as they did?
I think their confidence is fractured. I mean, I think it started there in the second quarter when they had a chance to really expand on the lead. Golden State pulled it within 5. Then they came out in the third quarter, went on this 18-0 run. And that really put a dent in their confidence. When you waste a game like this, that Kawhi Leonard goes off for 34 points, 14 rebounds, you lose this game. Now you got to go on the road in Golden State where they're as tough as anybody in the NBA. They know that it's an uphill battle from here on out.
Paul, help me understand. I mean, look, you played at a star level in this league, but when you've got guys like, say, a Cook on your team, and you're a role player means you play your role. Be great in your role, right? That's the old saying.
Yes.
How do you create a culture where a guy knows his role, but then when that role changes, he's able to elevate his game to a different type of role?
Well, you know, everybody wants more. You know, when you win, you know, Cook was on the championship last year team, and everybody wants more. But he has an understanding of this is what they need from me right now for us to win. And then now when guys go down, he says, okay, I'm going to get more of an opportunity. I've been waiting on this opportunity for a long time. And he steps into that expanded role, and he steps up a role that he's been wanting probably all year long. But, you know, patience is virtue. He stepped right into that role and knocked down some key shots. I mean, he made a huge impact on tonight's game, and, you know, that's what championship teams are all about.
Agreed. Now, Golden State's been able to figure out how to survive without Durant for the stretch that they have, including that end of Game 5 against Houston and then Game 6 on the road. They were able to get through Portland, and so far, here they are with a split. But if Klay's hamstring's not right, and you got to go without him, and you got to go without KD, at some point, man, 48 minutes is a long time without those guys. Can you win a game without those guys, even at home?
You know what? After tonight, I'm not putting anything past the Golden State Warriors.
Understood.
I mean, they have the championship DNA. I feel like whoever they put out there, they can get it done. You know, you have the 2-time MVP in Curry. You have Finals MVP in Iguodala. Cousins is starting to come around. So I wouldn't put it past them. If Klay doesn't play or KD doesn't play, Golden State is still a great team.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't just get, as a guy who's been through it, you try to play hurt, you try to come back from injuries. Boogie Cousins, I'm amazed that he's able to give them that. What did you make of his performance tonight, Paul?
It was extraordinary, to tell you the truth, because I didn't expect him to give much in this series after coming off 2 injuries in this season.
Right.
For him to have an impact, and this kind of impact in just his second game, I'm amazed. I mean, he outplayed Gasol and Ibaka together. Huge points, huge rebounds, huge defense, his passing. And, you know, my hat's off to him because I doubted he can even help this Warriors team in this series, and he's been a big contributor tonight.
Amazing. Paul, thanks so much for the time. Good to visit, man.
All right, thank you.
And, I mean, this is the graphic representation of just the minutes. Because, look, everyone had their jokes about, you know, what kind of shape could the man be in. You heard Steve Kerr mention it. They thought maybe he could give him 20. Well, 28 minutes, and Looney goes out. So Bogut comes in, and he gives you something. But a double-double and, you know, four assists shy of a triple-double. And Boogie perhaps will be joining us as we continue to discuss this series evening victory. Stephen A. Smith definitely set to join us. We'll get the Raptors' thoughts as well. as Game 2 goes the way of the road team. We showed you that 18-0 run to begin the third quarter, the longest run by any team in the NBA Finals to begin a half since the ABA-NBA merger in 1977. To add some context to what you see, the Warriors were 5 for 7 on open shots and contested shots, 6 of 8, and they contested 6 of the 8 Raptors field goals, I should say. Klay Thompson scored or assisted on 13 of the 18 points. Tim Legler's alongside, and Tim, I mentioned that you and I spoke about that third quarter, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, this might seem like a silly thing to point out, but that building's on fire, and then people go at halftime, you got the lead, people are slow to get back to their seats. Home court advantage is a real thing, and it's not an advantage when Golden State finds their footing and then they land that flurry of punches. I'm not saying that's a big part of it, but is it a little part of it?
Yeah, it played into it, and I'm going to get into in a second the start of the second half.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm good, but first, to me, Scott,
end of the first half.
It was started with what happened at the end of the second quarter. In a half that Toronto dominates, they allow Curry to get loose at the end of the half, and at this point, he's bottled up. He doesn't look well. They're checking out on him on the bench. He looks like he's physically ill. He doesn't have any energy. He doesn't have any space. And they make some mistakes at the end of the half. He gets a walk-up three because Kawhi's not up on the screener. Then he gets the breakaway layup off the turnover. He gets a short little runner in the middle there, and he finishes with 2 free throws. So Steph Curry gets 9 points in the last 2:50 of the second quarter. That, to me, felt like a huge momentum shift in the game because not only is he now feeling it, it's a 5-point game. It should have been 12-15. You can't allow Golden State to narrow the gap like that as you're walking off the court, knowing that coming out, you aren't going to have that emotion in the crowd at the start of the second half. That's most NBA arenas, right?
Of course. I'm not singling out Toronto. I'm just saying I'm singling them out because their home court advantage is so good that it's noticeable when there's a ton of empty seats and people aren't ready to go nuts.
Which is why your margin for error needs to be greater. You need to go in there up 12. So if you do have a slow start, right now maybe you call timeout. It's only an 8-point game instead of 5 from what it was. And so for me, that's where it all started to turn, and then they came out in the third quarter, and their passing in motion really turned the game.
In the highlight, we showed Bogut and Cook contributing in ways that you couldn't have imagined they would be asked to, or I shouldn't say be able, but they did. They're certainly capable of it. But I'm looking at Siakam and Gasol. They had 52 in game one, and I'm thinking there's no chance. Golden State's like, go ahead and do that again. They had 18 in this game. So, I mean, that jumps off the page. But as you're watching and as you're putting stuff together to show us, to illustrate where the game's won and lost, what stands out?
So they come out to start the third quarter. Golden State's feeling a little better about themselves at halftime, and now the motion and the passing turns the game. They get 14 straight buckets on assists to start the third quarter. This is a set play. Here's what they're trying to get. You're going to get a back screen here. They're going to get Iggy out of there, right? So now you get the back cut, and then the last part of this is going to be Cousins cleaning up for Curry, bringing him to the ball. It's a set they run all the time, but it begins with this back screen action. And when you're guarding a guy like Steph Curry, man, are you afraid to leave his side. And so you end up getting this action right here on this screen. Now, this is one of those situations, to me, this should be an obvious switch. I mean, Danny Green should just switch off here, pick up Draymond, and then when Curry pops out, that's okay. We got Kawhi jumping. They don't do it because Danny Green is so concerned about Steph Curry getting a three that you get an easy pitch and catch layup right here. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Great design, great execution. The motion and the passing starting to take over the game. Here's the very next trip. Curry with the rebound, throws it ahead, and right here, take a look. He's looking up the floor, and he sees this, and you can see him pointing. He's saying, get the ball into the post. It's exactly what they do. How good was DeMarcus Cousins tonight, by the way?
Remarkable. I thought when he went down with that injury, we'd never see him again this postseason. Good for him.
So good tonight. You can't say enough at the minutes, the production you gave him. And again, here goes that weak side action with Steph Curry. You're so afraid of him popping free off the cut. Kawhi Leonard falls asleep a little bit. You get this little brush screen, and here goes Klay Thompson. And again, it's an easy little drop-off layup to Klay. So first half, Golden State, I think they started the game shooting 28% through a quarter plus. Now they start getting the motion, the movement. They're getting layups. They're getting open threes. Completely different offensive flow in that third quarter, but it all started with that last 3 minutes of the first half.
Totally agree. If it was a fight, there'd have been a standing 8 in that second when they're down double digits. But this is a heavyweight champ. You let them catch their breath and get their legs beneath them, and then good luck. But then Toronto punches back, and we end up in a wild sequence there at the end where it looked like Golden State's trying to turn it over. Iguodala gets that look. He takes that long, pregnant pause, stares it down, and makes it. What do you make of this sequence?
Yeah, and it looks to me like the coaches right there are screaming to foul Draymond Green once Curry gives it up the first time, because they're definitely close enough to do it. Instead, he hits Livingston. It ends up back over to Curry, and then eventually Iguodala, who takes that three. A lot of nerve there because you got 3-4 seconds left on the shot clock. But I do think that's the right play, because if you don't take that shot, you might end up not getting a clean look or turning it over in a 2-point game. That's a guy that's been a Finals MVP. He's not afraid of the lights, steps up, makes a huge shot. But look, I also want to talk about Clay going down. And this guy that you're about to talk to, you can't say enough about what Quinn Cook did coming in and giving them 9 points at a critical time in the game with Klay Thompson limping off the floor. We talked about Cousins. Great. Draymond Green was sensational. They got basically contributions up and down that roster, and this is why they're the world champs, man. Margin for error is so small against this team. They make you pay like nobody else.
Tim Legler, Scott Van Pelt, SportsCenter, 11 o'clock in the East, and you made my segue perfectly. I will just turn and welcome in Quinn Cook.
Scramble, the champs had to scrap, and when it came down to it, they put the ball in the hands of a Finals MVP to put it away and even up this series at 1 apiece. Welcome in, everybody. It's Game Time live at the NBA Finals, presented by YouTube TV. What a game here in Toronto. That's Charles Barkley, Steve Smith, Grant Hill. I'm Matt Weiner. Great to have you with us. This was a wild, wild night.
It was a fabulous game. It was a total team effort. The two biggest difference in the game were DeMarcus Cousins and, unfortunately, a Dookie, Quinn Cook. Those were the difference in the game.
Yeah.
DeMarcus played great. He didn't score a ton. He had great assists. But Quinn Cook coming off the bench, and it breaks my heart to give Grant Hill and the Dookie. He's in the back screaming, brotherhood, brotherhood. You making us mad back there.
Well, I would have been yelling War Eagle, but anyway, no.
Oh, no, because we were tired from the Final Four. Y'all had plenty of time to rest up.
No, I mean, you said it best, Chuck. I mean, also, I throw Draymond Green in there. I thought he was spectacular tonight as well, defensively down the stretch, guarding Kawhi, but making plays. When they double-teamed Steph, he was, getting the ball, making plays for himself and his teammates, his energy. Different play from him from game one to game two. But you talked about it. Who's going to step up for Golden State? Quinn Cook hit some big shots there. Cousins played huge. Big improvement from game one to game two for him. And let's face it, Toronto, they had some open looks.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Plenty of open looks. They just couldn't convert, Smitty.
Grant, I look at it as Cousins. It was so big. He's so big. And when they set the screen and roll and he rolls, there's nobody left at the back line. And I thought also Klay Thompson did a fantastic job the way he started off and the way he played. But also Chuck and Grant. I was impressed by Bogut. Bogut, the few minutes he came in, he defended well.
Yes.
I mean, he got some lobs. Like you said, total team effort. And the transition defense was fantastic for the Warriors in game two.
Two things. Number one, Toronto's going to be kicking themselves. I have no idea what the hell happened in the third quarter. But come out.
Nothing good.
No, but to come out that flat.
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw it was 18-zip.
24-1 spanning the second and third quarter, but the first 18 points of the third quarter for Golden State.
I know they're going to be kicking themselves for that. But also, like I say, we talked about, can the Warriors score enough points? And we said, hey, Klay and Steph got to do their thing. Draymond going to do his thing. But can they get enough points than those other guys? And when you look at it, Cook, Cousins, these guys said it, Steve said it, Bogut, man, they got some contributions for everybody, and that was the difference in the game.
I would take it a step further offensively because, guys had to hit some of those shots, Quinn Cook in particular, but the flow of their offense was much, much better tonight. They had 34 assists. I lost track of the backdoor plays and the lobs they got to the rim for easy baskets that we just didn't see here in game one.
Yeah, Matt, you're so right, but look, the bottom line, they scored 109 points tonight, the same amount they scored in game one. The difference was their defense was better. There were fewer transition baskets. And to your point, I think a lot of that had to do with better offense. They ran good offense. They valued the basketball. They didn't really allow Toronto to get out in the open court and get those easy baskets. So they scored enough, but they made the necessary adjustments on defense. But in saying that, Toronto still missed a lot of easy baskets.
When they interviewed Coach Nurse, in the third quarter, he says, hey, listen, we're getting wide open shots. We're not making them. Like a lot of times, as my girl Rachel Nichols says all the time on the jump, hey, it's a make or miss league. And they were right there even at the end. That shot Iguodala hit, because they had 5 or 6 more shots. They could have closed the gap. They couldn't get over the hump. Then when they finally hit the last 3 to get it down to 2. But listen, we talk about this. That was a total team effort. Clay and Steph were fabulous the first half, but Boogie, Quinn, Bogut, man, and then obviously at the end, Andre. But, man, you talk about a total team effort. That was one.
Well, and by the way, on a night when the Warriors lost not 1 but 2 rotation players, including Klay Thompson, who left the game with a hamstring injury of some sort on his left side. Kevon Looney left the game as well early in the game. They had to make do with what they have. We've seen all these different lineups from Steve Kerr. He's had to dig deep, I should say, into his bench throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, I would say for sure. I think what I still go back to is the way Cousins was able to establish, and look at Klay. That's tough for him. That's a hamstring, and you can see, I know he's upset, but I thought Cousins, the way he was able to control the pace, rebounding the basketball, being able to go down there and block shots, and just because he's so big, Chuck, there was no guards that was able to box him out. I thought he was fantastic.
Well, I think you also, if you look at this stat sheet, listen, when a big guy has that many assists, 6 assists is a lot. Like I say, he only scored 11 points, but 10 rebounds and 6 assists. Obviously, I can't remember every basket, but that's at least 12 points that we wondered, like, how are they going to get their points? And give it to the guys, man. They really stepped up tonight.
I did not anticipate when the night began that the Warriors would play so often through DeMarcus Cousins. A, because we didn't know how many minutes he was going to play, and B, because he has looked so rusty when he's been on the floor in that game one, those few minutes.
You make a great point, Matt. He made a lot of plays. The ball was in his hands at the top. A lot of times on that roll, he's catching it. Now he's making spins. He's making moves. You could see he was gaining confidence as the game wore on. He might have been a little bit of a liability on the defensive end, but offensively he was huge. And of course, having that size inside, and this is great defense here on Kyle Lowry, but getting those defensive rebounds big time, and that was a big 3 right there early in the game. And this was what we've seen from DeMarcus Cousins throughout his career, and this is what we saw from him before he got hurt there in the spring. And so that is huge for Golden State. And really at the game once, man, I didn't expect this DeMarcus Cousins.
And not 27 minutes to be able to come out. And I also go back again. Bogut, 7 minutes. He had to play 3 for 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I know one guy's got to be happy, Draymond. He has a live guy back. You can see Draymond was so excited. He was catching, he was looking, throwing up. And Bogut went and got a couple of them. I was impressed.
Yeah, and I got to say something about DeMarcus. Grant, it tells me he's a smart basketball player, because when you can't run because you're not in shape, he's still a hell of a passer. So he's like, okay, I can't run and gun like I normally do. I'm not going to get 35 minutes. I don't have that type of energy. But 6 assists for him, that was fabulous.
And I also thought he took Gasol's legs at the beginning of the game. You can see Gasol was not knocking down threes. He couldn't get up and down, just 2 of 7. Yeah. Having to guard that big old guy, I think it took a lot of Marcus Gasol.
He's a hoss down there.
Yes.
I also think, overall, Golden State did a better job, except at the end of the game. But they did a better job of not giving open shots to guys. They played Kawhi straight up. Give credit.
Yeah.
They competed. Kawhi had a great game. Was very efficient. I thought he kind of got a little tired there down the stretch. A couple missed shots he had in the paint there that we've normally seen him make. But he was fantastic. But really, no one else got off. For Toronto, and give credit to the defense and the missed shooting.
Well, you just look
Raptors.
at the shots. You look at Siakam was only 5 for 18. That's not going to get it done. Van Vliet was only 7 for 17. Those guys made those shots in game 1. They did tonight.
Marcus Gasol had 20 in game 1. He had 6 tonight.
But listen, Grant said it early, and Coach Nurse said it during the interview. Hey, listen, I think Toronto will live with those same shots going forward in this series.
Yeah, a lot of them for sure. Let's get into that the playmaking element tonight for Golden State. 34 assists on the night. They have their usual 16 turnovers because that's who Golden State is. But some of the playmaking was great, and it was, like I said, so much of it was backdoor stuff. It was all downhill.
Yeah, Matt, well, so much attention and focus is going to be on Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and rightfully so. But the passing and the cutting and the unselfishness, you can't diagram this, and it's hard to defend. You have to stick to your principles. Chuck, we talked about this before game 1. You got to just be aware at all times. But Golden State's so unselfish, so willing to pass, and of course
Yes.
making plays and great finishes for this team. And a lot of these are at the rim. These aren't three-pointers. These are at the rim off of these assists, and a great pass here by Steph Curry to Bogut.
Well, I thought, Grant, also they had better movement. You can see bodies are lively, and Draymond gets a chance to hit Bogut. I know he is excited to have that live guy back. And Bogut, I told you again, I was impressed. Just 7 minutes to come in and go 3 for 3. That was huge.
Let's bring in Draymond Green after this this scrap of a game, too. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You guys down double digits for the 5th straight game now in the postseason. You come back with this massive run spanning the 2nd and 3rd quarter, and then had to hold on at the end, losing players along the way. How do you describe what just happened?
I mean, well, with that run in the first half, I felt like we were getting great shots, and they just weren't falling. But we stayed the course. We picked it up in transition. We started the game off great in that area, and then we kind of let it get away from us. Once we picked that back up, we got stops, and we was able to get out and run, and, you know, it was successful for us.
You guys weren't hitting shots early in the game, but you racked up assists with a lot of easy buckets on some of the stuff we just showed. What was the offensive tweak that allowed you to get behind their defense so often?
I think we were just more aggressive. You know, first game we were on our heels a lot, and, you know, I think we kind of turned that tonight. We put them on their heels on both sides of the ball, and, you know, it was enough for us to come out with the win.
Yeah, Draymond, y'all had 109 the first game. Tonight, 109. The defense really seemed to make a big difference. What was the point of emphasis or the game plan defensively, that adjustment between game 1 and game 2?
Well, number one was to get back in transition. I think they had 24 points or something like that in transition, and also to tighten our shell up. You know, there were so many gaps in our defense in the first game. We tightened that up. We want to make guys see body. They got some great players on that team. You let them play one-on-one and not in the crowd, you know, they get comfortable. So I think we made them a little uncomfortable today.
Draymond, DeMarcus Cousins, talk about his impact and what he did for you guys on both ends, and also his passing, how it helps you guys.
He was great on both sides of the ball. You know, I think it was the way we were guarding with him was a different look for them, and, you know, he was good on the defensive end. And, you know, when he's on the offensive end, he's a great playmaker, but we all know how he can score the ball, and they got to respect that. You know, he gave us big minutes, and we're going to need him, you know, the rest of this series.
You know, you go back, number one, you obviously DeMarcus played fantastic, but you also got a great lift from Quinn Cook. He was fabulous tonight. I mean, Bogut, Cousins was fantastic, but I thought the guy was huge was Quinn Cook.
Quinn loved a big moment. You know, he's had several times now in his 2 or 3 years here where he's come up with big shots for us, and, you know, that's the same guy who worked his way from a 2-way contract and is a mainstay on our team. And, you know, he showed up big in the moment when they were trying to make a run.
Yeah,
he hit a couple big threes for us.
Those big threes were huge.
Absolutely.
Hey, Draymond, you know, obviously I think you're the most versatile defender in the league. You can guard just about anybody, bigs, littles, and you're out there on Kawhi Leonard tonight. And he had a great game for himself, but you made him work for everything. Just talk about the challenge, the one-on-one challenge of guarding somebody like Kawhi Leonard.
He's a great player, you know, but as a competitor, you relish those opportunities. Not every night do you get a chance to go up against one of the best players in the league. And so, you know, he had a good game, but, you know, when you're playing against a guy like that, you're not going to lock him down, you know, but you try to wear him out over the course of the game and make him take tough shots, and you live with the results.
You guys have some real injury issues now with Clay going down with a hamstring tonight. Obviously, you're waiting for Kevin Durant to come back at some point, hopefully during this series. Kevon Looney left the game, did not return. You get all these contributions, and I know you'd love to have all these players back, but collectively, what does it do for the morale when everybody's involved like this on this stage?
You know, it's great for our team morale. You know, when you got guys going down and, you know, everyone else is stepping up, you know, it's a confidence booster. You know, it makes you feel better about yourself. So, you know, it's going to be tough to overcome these injuries, but, you know, we've been faced with a bunch of challenges over the course of these 5 years now, and, you know, we just got to continue to push and do whatever we can and continue to get contributions from, you know, from the guys off the bench.
Draymond, from game 1 to game 2 for you offensively, little hesitant in game 1. What was your mindset now offensively? Because you came out a little bit more aggressive scoring the ball downhill.
Just to be more aggressive. You know, we got Kevin out, you know, and I felt like I was on my heels a lot, as I said earlier in game 1. You know, I put too much work in, you know, to come out passive, and, you know, I just got to be aggressive, and I'll live with those results, whatever they are.
You talked about experience. I'm just curious, you guys, you know, down 0-1 here on the road, injuries, adversity. Just talk about like what you guys have been through and being in series. I think of like the OKC series years ago. You guys fought back. You know, do you not get rattled? I mean, I saw you posted on the internet and you just seem relaxed walking around Toronto. just what's the mindset collectively of your team when you guys, get down in this series like you were game one?
I think we play our best basketball when we're threatened. When a team poses a threat, I've never seen us fold. And, me and Steph was talking about it today. Like, it's so weird when you're just sitting and waiting on the game because, you're in the finals and you really just sit around. And so you don't really get a chance to get away from it. I try to stay loose. I got some lunch and, just kick back last couple of days. But it's the NBA Finals, so it should have all of your attention. But when we're faced with challenges, we don't get rattled and we just keep pushing, and it's been good for us.
You guys know the rhythm of the finals as well as anybody now. So what do you expect for Game 3? You've been through this before, the win, loss, bounce back thing, adjustment, the whole deal.
They're going to come out pissed off. They just took a loss on their home court, and they're going to come back and try to get that win back. So I know our crowd is going to be great when we go home, and you usually play a little better at home, so that bode well for us. But, we can't expect to just go home and walk into a win. We're going to have to go home and try to take these 2 wins.
Got something we want to show you. I don't know what it is. It'll be a surprise to all of us, but it's going to pop up on the screen right there.
Is that Coach Stafford?
There you go.
Is that Coach Stafford on the tweet? Stallard. Okay.
What did you say?
Stallard.
No, it's Coach. It looked like I don't have my glasses on.
Put your glasses, Chuck. Okay.
Put your glasses on, man.
There you go. That was
good.
curated just for you.
That's good. I appreciate that.
Enjoy the trip back west. Good luck moving forward in Game 3 and beyond.
Thanks a lot, fellas.
Draymond Green had a triple-double in Game 1, near triple-double tonight. More importantly, a win for the Warriors, who have evened up this series at 1 apiece. Much more coming up here. It's Game Time Live, presented by YouTube TV after a Game 2 Warriors win.